folks, to the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I want to finish my show with just a little story, something that I experienced this week, and I think is something that a lot of us are experiencing right now. So here's the setup. I'm walking out of the Harris Teeter in Mount Pleasant, and I've got 2 boxes of pizza in my hands. I've got my wife's wedding cake on top of it. I walk out of the store, I walk into the street, and as I'm crossing the street, someone is pulling out of a parking spot and then kind of whips around and honks their horn at me and drives by me, and I'm like a foot from their car, and they speed right past me, almost hits me, and honks at me as if it were my fault for crossing the street while holding 2 pizzas and a wedding or in a birthday cake. And it was just so frustrating. And I think here's what a lot of people in Charleston are experiencing right now. Look, the secret's out, right? This is a beautiful place to live. And one thing that makes Charleston so beautiful is the people, right? When I moved here 22 years ago, it's just different. It feels different now. And everyone has the right to live here. And yes, we are a melting pot that over the past few years has had, a lot of additions from the Northeast and from the West Coast. And I think we can all agree that the grace and the respect and the kindness that we all expect to an extent and grew to love about Charleston is fading a little bit. And a lot of folks that I talk to that end up selling their home are saying, look, this is just not the Charleston that we have loved over the past several years or decades. And so just a friendly message to send out there to just be kind to one another, to show grace, to show respect, to show an understanding, generally speaking. You don't know what someone's going through. Be nice to one another. And honestly, tying that into real estate, the way that you treat the other agents or the way that the seller treats the buyer and vice versa can have and will have real impacts on the overall transaction. Perfect example. A few months ago, we were in a multiple offer situation. I'm really close with the seller, and we're comparing 2 different offers. And they're like, all right, well, these look extremely similar. Like, tell me everything. What's the situation with buyer number 1, buyer number 2? Like, is there anything that we can use to kind of assess these offers and choose the one that we feel is ultimately going to close and is going to be the best for us? And I had to be honest. One of the agents was already, before we were even under contract, very dismissive, very rude, tough to deal with, questioned our value, asking price, and just overall was showing signs that they were just going to be extremely tough to work with. So I relayed that to the seller, and that's what they used to make their decision. Now, that's my responsibility as as a listing agent representing my seller's best interests to tell them as much as I can so that I can truly consult them. And in that instance, had that agent behaved differently, they may have been the one that got their clients the house. Same thing when you're negotiating a deal between a buyer and a seller. If someone is overly rigid, but then they need a little grace in the transaction, maybe for some sort of unseen delay, you better believe that other side of the table is going to hold that against you. So just a message to be kind to one another. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. And remember to reach out to me if you have any questions or if I can help you with your real estate needs. 843-800-0065 or listingsincharleston.com. Y'all take care.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009.